Hello, and welcome back to the Musings of Maverick channel. It's your host, Maverick. Today, we are finally going to continue our watch of the Evangelion reboot movies today with 3.33, You Cannot Redo. So, yes, it has been a long time coming. I know that a lot of you guys have been waiting for this. I kept on delaying it because of two things, right? One, I do need a time in my schedule to open up to watch the entirety of a freaking movie, right? That's one thing. And secondly, before I go into this movie, I wanted to go back and refresh my knowledge of the Evangelion series, right? Because that has been such a long time ago, right? It's actually a series of my youth already. So, and there were a lot of details that were quite fuzzy already, as you guys might have seen back in the first movie and the second movies. So I went back and I didn't rewatch the entire series, but I rewatched End of Evangelion to make sure, my knowledge was still fully there as to the ending there. I don't need to rewatch the original series for the original episode 25-26. That has always been ingrained in my memory because of just how iconic it is. The omedeto scene, right? That's classic. And if there's any of you guys who have not seen the original ending, I highly recommend you guys to check that out. But yeah, and one of the reasons why I want to go back and watch End of Evangelion again is because at the end of the last movie, right, at the end of 2.22 or 2.0, it's kind of revealed that this is basically... I actually went into this completely thinking that this was a reboot of the series, right? Like a soft reboot. They're just retelling the story once again, and maybe potentially with a different ending here. But now, with the events of the last movie, and with Kaworu's words at the very end there, it brings me to believe that this might be a continuation of the End of Evangelion, and, they might be redoing this whole thing once again, right? So it's not just an alternate timeline kind of thing here, but the timelines might actually be connected in some way to each other, right? And so that's why, because of that, I wanted to refresh my knowledge just to make sure I can catch all the differences and whatnot. And, there are already a lot of differences, right? Kaworu is making his appearance a lot earlier. The third impact is happening a lot earlier, and lots of minor other differences as well, such as Asuka's name and whatnot, although whether or not that's, how relevant that is, remains to be seen. I don't know if they changed her backstory or whatnot. And obviously, an entirely new character, Mary, who at this point I still don't know why the hell she's here. I mean, it doesn't seem like she served any specific purpose in the second movie, but I guess we will find out in this particular, movie here, right? So, without further ado, let's just jump right into Evangelion 3.33. Alright, so since it is 3.33, obviously this is the Blu-ray version. Let's begin in 3, 2, 1, play. Alright. Okay. Oh. Toei. I just want to make sure my sound... Oh, yeah, okay. I have sound. I'm not putting sound in the... Well, actually... Yeah, no, I don't want to risk getting copyright struck. Oh yeah, and also they already retrieved the Lands of Longinus, right? At the end of the second movie. What? Operation US? This is outer space, I'm assuming. Okay. Right. Obviously a rocket going into outer space. For what though? That's a really interesting design for a booster rocket. Is that... No. I was like, is that an Eva? But no. Looks like a shield? Oh, actually, is that an ICBM? What? Why is this... Man. If nothing else, right? After rewatching... After rewatching, Sorry. After rewatching End of Evangelion, you know, the animation here is just so effing clean. Wait. Is... Why is Asuka working with Mari right now? So this isn't exactly right after the end of the second movie? I have no idea what's going on right now, but the animation is seriously really impressive, though. And why does she have an eye patch right now? I'm sorry, I guess I should be commentating or whatnot, but, right now at this point, I'm just, like, flabbergasted. What exactly is happening? Shh. What? Why is Shinji here? What? Right, this is... Oh, you're cute. Right, he just went berserk, right? Was what we saw at the beginning a sort of an alternate universe? I think that was like a different... Specimen BM03? I mean, that's Masato, isn't it? Yeah. What the... What is this setup? Near third impact? Is this like an alternate universe? I feel like I'm watching like something entirely else. They said near third impact. So... I mean, and obviously we see the Sea of Red, right? The Sea of LCL, so... I guess... Yeah, that should be the Sea of LCL. So third impact almost entirely manifested. She has a different personality as well. And who's this girl? What in the actual hell is happening? Kancho. Kancho. They mean captain is as in the Navy perspective. So not in the Army perspective, because the original Misato was a colonel, right? But that was in the Army. Yeah, they mean captain as in a ship captain. So this is more like a Navy sort of. Is this actually turning into like a space mecha alternate universe? Unit 8. Yeah, so it was kind of the colonel. Yeah. So she's still. Yeah, and having that patch there, this means that this is more related to the end of Evangelion. I'm glad that I actually rewatched that before watching this. Right, because in End of Evangelion, we see Asuka with her eye pierced, right? Gravity balance. Yeah, this. They're going to space, aren't they? Or at least flying. I mean, I think even Shinji should recognize that this is not exactly the same place that he left, right? Although I'm not really sure which incarnation of him is he. Like, even as like a viewer, I think it's quite clear that this is different from. Although again, I don't know which universe this Shinji came from. 6 minutes. Right, so again, what I'm getting from this is that this is an alternate universe and one that's much more... I guess this is sort of like post-Third Impact. And judging from their reactions towards Shinji, right? I think they do blame him for everything that's happened, right? Like maybe the Shinji of this world wanted to go through a Third Impact, but did not, in the end, did not succeed. Or was stopped or something. But Asuka clearly still has, still harbors friendliness towards Shinji. We're turning into Macross or something. Did they literally just, obliterate... Oh. I wonder. What the actual... Since when did we turn into Macross here? I mean, don't get me wrong, it's badass, but... What? Or I guess maybe Space Battleship Yamato is a bit more similar to this. No, but seriously, if it wasn't for the fact that Shinji and Asuka are here, I would have sworn this is an entirely different series. I mean, yeah, this is cool. The animation is stellar. And I mean, if this was an entirely different mecha series, I would not mind this at all. But again, what in the world am I watching right now? Yeah, see, the entire world is a sea of LCL. Isn't that just gonna stress your own ship, though? Alright. Okay. So I'm guessing these nemesis are the new enemies of this world? Of some sort? Wonder. So where did this ship come from? Kaji. So is this what Kaji was of this world holding? Wait, are those aircraft carriers in the air with them? Oh, so it generates sort of like an anti-gravity field, right? They did mention about that gravity well kind of situation. I mean, shouldn't... Suzuha? Are you gonna punch him? But if it's 14 years later, how come Asuka still looks like this? I mean, Shinji still has, right, no concept of what is more important here. Why is nobody thinking to explain things around here? I mean, at the very least, they should try to explain it for the sake of Shinji, right? Hmm? Hmm? And why couldn't we first get an explanation of what happened 14 years ago first? She can't. She still can't. Hmm. I mean, I guess we can kind of piece together what's happening right now, right? So there's obviously been a rift between Nerve and this Willy, whatnot, which was probably set up by Kaji, right? Um, Somehow I don't think this is the Ray uh, that you know, Shinji. Why hasn't this place been completely filled up with LCO? Hmm. And more to the point, why? Well, I guess this question I don't really want to ask until we find out what actually happened here. But why is this Shinji right here at this point? And again, which Shinji is this? Is this the Evangelion movie Shinji, which we've been following in episode 1 and 2? Or is this the original series Shinji? Oh, that's Kawaru? Well, hello. A 2 pilot Ava? Wow, and you don't even say anything. Will somebody do some explaining? I'm just thinking, right? If we're still going by the first and second movies here, right? 1.0 and 2.0, I would feel that the Shinji of this world is far more um how can I say this? Biased towards Rei than he is towards Asuka. We didn't really get like the complete Asuka Shinji development in the first two movies, right? Which is quite different from the original series and all that. Then again, that's a moot point, right? Because Rei is supposed to be his mom after all. But well, I guess. Well, you're going to walk into her laughing. I guess some things never change. Can you try like a different method of asking her, Shinji? Then again, if Shinji was smart, we wouldn't be having this series in the first place. So, anyways. Oh, hello. What do you guys have to say now? Them, them, the more things change, the more things stay the same. It's still Shinji having his existential crisis, alone on the bed while lying down. And here I was thinking that they would kind of restrain him or something, so they just allow him to wander around. And still don't tell him anything about what happened 14 years ago? Or for Shinji himself, have you not tried to, see what happened 14 years ago? Ah, yeah! Go ask Kawaru, right? Though the Shinji of this timeline apparently does not know who Kawaru is yet. They didn't even bother removing that. Oh, actually. Seriously? Being able to. you know, of all the unrealistic things we've seen so far, right? Angels, mecha, time travel, multi universes. This scene might be the most unrealistic. Maybe because it's so based on reality, right? We know how to play music. We know how hard it is to learn music and to create music. By the way, I am going to divide this into two parts as usual. So, I think this is about time to change parts. I'll do it at the 45-minute mark. Right. Alright. And alright, guys. So that was part 1 here. Continuing in part 2 right after this. I have absolutely no idea what's going on right now. I mean, I can venture a guess, right? I think from everything that we've been shown so far, even though they haven't really fully explained things as of yet, which infuriates me to no degree, especially because, you know, you would think that Shinji, of all people, would kind of want to ask about this. But then again, it is Shinji, right? We can't really expect him to do things in a logical and consistent way. So, you know, whatever. But I guess what is being implied here is that this is a continuation from the first and second movies. So so this is not the third impact that we see back in the original Evangelion series, back in End of Evangelion. This is the third impact that they're talking about at the end of the second movie, right? So and I presume what happened is that, since they talk about a near third impact, so that means that they were on the verge of doing all this. I was going to say that perhaps a huge population of the Earth has been changed into, you know, a sea of LCL and whatnot. But then again, even back in the first 2 movies, we see that Red Sea, right? So it's really hard to say for sure if this is if that actually, you know, that actually happened. I mean, so if my memories of the second movie serves me correct, Shinji was going berserk, right? They changed that berserk scene, and then they basically accelerated everything later on into right here. So so that triggered third impact through some sort of way, not really sure how, and Kararu knows about this entire situation for one thing, and he even knows about perhaps other timelines, other multiverses as well, right? Long story short, it did not fully trigger. Somebody came up and stopped it. Don't really know who. But you know, it is what it is. And now I'm assuming that Kaji, right, set up the resistance forces before before he died, before he perished, and that is this melee organization that we see here, led by Misato, right? Who is now apparently the captain of this entire fleet at this point. And I mean, they're using some pretty damn impressive weaponry, right? I truly want to know how exactly they got their hands on that. It seems to be probably some weaponry that were devised from the Angels or from Eva, which, you know, more or less the same thing. But yeah, basically that's the situation. Not really sure what the nemesis are. Like, I guess they aren't exactly angels. Would angels still continue coming after the third impact? You know, that's also a question mark and everything. Maybe that's just something entirely else. Well, at least on Nerve's side, they want to continue pushing forward with the Human Instrumentality Project, right? Still achieve third impact. I guess in the past they failed. They were trying to use Unit 01 to trigger it, right? That failed, so now they're back and apparently with Unit, what was it, 13, 14? And they're wanting to go through it and try it again, right? So, I mean, I guess I can kind of get all that, right? Through everything that's implied up to this point, I think that's what happened so far. But still, it would be nice to see if to actually get a little bit more answers and whatnot. We can see Misato at the very end there was still, you know, very hesitant in killing off Shinji because maybe she still feels sort of responsible for everything that happened in some way, shape, or form, right? By the fact that they're calling him Specimen BM03 and all that, and, you know, not even sure if he was Shinji. I guess that means that potentially there are other specimens or other fragments of Shinji, or many clones of Shinji of some sort, and simply the one that we see right here was the one that activated, right? If we recall all the way back to the original series, after Unit 01 went through the entire Berserk process, right? Shinji basically dissolved himself into a sea of LCL and was only later on able to come back, right? That's what happens once your synchronization rate goes over 100, like reaches too high a level. You just dissolve. Similar to how in the end of Evangelion, everybody dissolved into LCL as well, right? So maybe that's a similar situation here. Shinji dissolved into a sea of LCL, and then, you know, through everybody piecing pieces together, they recognize that it's the bond between Shinji and Unit 01 that's causing a third impact, and they basically want to prevent that from happening again. That's why we see all that hospitality towards Shinji, and also, all the warnings for him not to get into an Eva once more, because they're afraid if he does, it's going to trigger another third impact situation, and this time it might really be hard to stop him, right? Which is exactly what NERV wants at this point, right? So I think that's the story so far. Let's just continue on. I will say, even though I'm not really sure how I feel about this kind of situation, but I guess I can see why they went with it, because it's definitely cool, right? It's definitely really, really cool, and it kind of plays into the crowd of those that really want Evangelion to maybe to really beef up its mecha aspects a little bit more. And here we actually get aspects of not only just the regular mecha series, but also the space mecha series in some ways. They don't really go to space and whatnot, but come on, you can't look at that vessel right there and say that it doesn't remind you of something like from the Macross series or from Battleship Yamato series, right? That kind of thing, having this ship that can fly around with weaponry and all that. So really, really fun, and I mean, the animation is stellar, don't get me wrong. It's absolutely it's breathtaking, the animation, the visuals, and whatnot. The story, though, well, we'll have to see how it fares at the very end here. So without further ado, let's just jump right into part 2 right after this.